Alrighty, besties, so today we're going to work on a couple of projects. I just finished one of these plates. Decoupaging things I'm horrible at it. I am not good at it. So I have tried multiple attempts over a few years to get this plate correct. I've been wanting to do this project, so I'm going to go ahead and share this with you before we do a faux food craft, but I will do a faux food with you today in this video as well. So basically I wanted to take these beautiful I call them Maggie napkins. Let me show you what they look like. It's this pack of napkins. And anybody that's been with me for a while at OG Besties, you know that I have a co-host. A co-host named Maggie, my teacup Yorkie that I adore. She's my fur baby. I don't know what I would do without her. Anyway, this is my Maggie napkin that I found, and I wanted to put them on plates. So, like I said, I've tried and tried, and every time I try to do a project with them, for some reason, they bleed. I'm not good at this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm flying by the seat of my pants on it like I do everything else, and this is, trial. I can't get my chair to go up. It's trial and error is what it is. So this can be a very tedious project, the way that I just completed it, and I'm happy with it. So I don't know how I'm going to film the entire process for you, but basically what I'm going to start with is my napkin. I took one layer of, there's 3 layers to a napkin, so I took one layer off, leaving 2 layers. That gives me this, and then I'm just gonna cut around and make it a more oval shape. Don't worry about how oval it is at this point. It's not gonna matter because I'm gonna do so many things to this to make it look nice. But basically I'm just gonna cut it into a bit of an oval, and then I'm going to put some Mod Podge on a plate, and then I'm gonna stick this on top of the Mod Podge. Now, because this napkin, I don't know if all napkins do this, but this one definitely bleeds. And if it bleeds, then Maggie looks like a bright orange blob. It's horrible. It is so distorted after it's done. So I need to be very sparing and very careful with the Mod Podge, because if I'm not, it's going to bleed. So, and I think I've perfected this because I've tried it a million times, and I finished, this is the first plate that I finished where I actually like it. And this is what it looks like. And I'm gonna show you how I got it to not bleed, and that is being very sparing with the Mod Podge and not going over it. I do not put any Mod Podge on any of the color at all, because if I do, it's going to bleed, and then it's going to bleed into the others, and it's just gonna be a mess. I've tried it a million times. So this is what works for me. I'm not putting any Mod Podge on top of it. So I'm not sealing it. But it's going to be fine because it's not something I'm gonna wash. This is just decoration only. And I've got plenty of the napkins, so if it wears and tears over time or gets nicked while I'm decorating, that's okay. I'll just make another one. I picked up 4 small white plates from the Dollar Tree, but you might have something in your stash that you want to use if you want to try a project like this. I'm actually going to be using these on some black plates that I have, and I don't think these will bleed nearly as bad, so we'll see how that goes. But here's the good thing about these projects, especially if you're doing it on a plate. If you're doing it on wood, I can't help you. But if you're doing it on something ceramic or like glassware, dinnerware kind of thing, you can, before it's dry or even after it's dry, it's harder, but you can remove it. You can literally scrape and wash it and clean it and start from scratch. I've done that, so I know you can. So let's go ahead and get this started before my brushes dry to a crisp. I'm gonna take some Mod Podge and just sparingly put it in the middle of the plate. That's all I'm gonna do. Very, very little bit. Just enough to put the the napkin on so it can kind of adhere. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get an even coat all the way around the center because I'm only working in the center of this plate. I'm not going all over the plate. So that's step one. I'm gonna take my little Maggie, I'm gonna put her in the center, and then with very dry hands, I'm going to tap, tap, tap gently that napkin into the decoupage or Mod Podge or whatever this stuff is called. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. I'm not too worried about wrinkles because, or small wrinkles I'm not worried about, because that's gonna aid in the like texture. I wanna camouflage that this is a napkin by using this texture and wrinkling to my advantage. I'm gonna play off of it and use that as part of the camouflaging of that rim. So once I get it done like this, the tedious process, even more tedious process, this gets more tedious as it goes, will come in. So I'm gonna, once I got it pounced down, I'm gonna just go back and make sure that Maggie is all pressed in there really good. My finger is dry and I'm still being very gentle because remember, I don't want it wet. Now I am going to go into all the white parts with a very soft brush like this, and I'm not wiping, I'm stimpling. And then in the really little teeny areas, a fine, fine brush. And then when it's done, there's another step. So let me show you how I do this. At first I'm gonna go around the edges, and I am gonna brush the edges down like this. I'm gonna get them good and wet all the way around. Welcome to all my new besties. Tell ya, I don't know what you see in this channel. I'm a hot mess. Oh my Lord, oh my Lord. I'm a hot mess. So I'm gonna go all the way around really well and just make sure that it's good and wet and sealed. But guess what, it's not gonna stay that way. Okay. So I'm gonna go around, once I got all the way around, now I'm gonna start working in. I'm gonna go around the small detail parts first with my fine brush. And I'm just gonna stipple and make sure that I get it wet. I'm not doing a whole lot of rubbing or anything. This is the only way I know of to get it as sealed as I can without going over the entire image and causing any type of bleeding. I don't want any color saturated anywhere else. I just want to keep it as dry as possible on the color. So I'm gonna go do this and then I'll check back in a second because this is gonna take me forever. All right, so I have it all wetted down, as you can see. Now I'm gonna take this brush that's like a more firm, and I'm just gonna stipple around all over the places. It's just gonna pull that texture, like kind of like puck it up a little bit. It's gonna texturize the napkin in the wet parts more. Again, I'm avoiding any of the painted area or the decal area. Okay, I'm not so much worried about the edges because the edges are gonna get stippled again, but I'm gonna go in with a toothpick and I'm just gonna do like a little tear. I'm just gonna do this. I know that's hard for you to see, but I'm basically just gonna kind of do this and kind of rip it up. I'm gonna do this all the way around, and I'm gonna rip little bits like this off and then go in and stipple until I get the desired blending of the on the plate. So it's more seamless than just the rough edge of a napkin stuck to a plate, if that makes sense. This is not a tutorial. You're just watching me play. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep pulling away, but I have to be very careful because I don't wanna rip the napkin off the plate. I just wanna work it so that I can blend it more. It's just gonna blend more, that's all. I've already taken that much off, so I'm just gonna keep doing this until I get the desired effect that I want, and going in and kind of stippling in. So I just did that one little area there, and look at how much better that looks rather than that rough edge. So that's what I'm going for all the way around the plate. All right, they're still drying, but they're fine. I like the way they turned out. They're not bleeding. I think I'm gonna call this a success. And I will, once they're completely dry, I'll store them away and pull them out in just a few short weeks to decorate for Halloween. All right, so we're gonna make some cookies now. And I'm just using some Model Magic in the white. I always get white because it's cheaper to buy a bulk bag of this in white, and then you can color it yourself, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. So I've already I'm working on a batch of my cookie bases, and I like it to have a little bit of color so it looks like a cookie out of the oven. So it kind of looks like this. And I just work it up in small batches and then kind of work them together, because none of them are exactly alike. And when you bake, things bake it at a different, everything's like very unique. It might be similar, but not each cookie that I bake looks completely identical. They flatten a separate way, they brown, some brown more than others. So, there's no real consistency to it. So I like to work it up in small little batches, and you're gonna do this for every color that you would want. So I'm gonna make up some orange, I'm gonna make up some yellow, some red, green, all of that, so it's on hand and ready to go throughout the holidays. So I don't have to do this process. You can use acrylic paint to color your Model Magic. You can buy it already colored if you want. Like I said, I don't, because it's cheaper this way. And I don't mind doing this. I like to use, I've learned that chalk powder works the best, or mica powder. I just get a box of chalk, and if you get enough of the, like a variety colors, like over here, I got this off of Amazon for like $10. But you're just gonna take a straight edge blade, and you're just gonna shave it off, and it's gonna come off in a fine little powder, and you're just gonna do that. And I like to get the color that I want, I usually have to mix colors. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just taking, no rhyme or reason, just some colors that I think works best, to my eye. This, again, I wing everything. There's really no true instructions for any of this. So I'm just gonna take some powder, and I'm gonna start mixing it together. And the one great thing about this is that it doesn't take a lot to get the desired color that you want. So the material cost is down because you don't need as much. And it's also not messy. When I do it with paint, you're gonna get paint all in your hands, or I usually don't wear gloves. You should wear gloves, but you're still gonna have the mess all over your gloves, and it's messy if you do it with paint. If you do it this way, you're limiting the mess. It takes a little time, it takes a little patience. You've really gotta work it in and just add more if you need it, because it takes a while to get. I wish I could show you. I'll tell you what, I'll zoom in. It's gonna take you a while to get to that color, but not too awful long, to be honest. I mean, we're almost there. And I don't know if it's because I've been doing this for so long that I kind of just have my own little, you know, I don't know. Actually, I don't think I need any more color to that. That's actually good. But if I needed it darker, I could just add more of whatever color I wanted. So now I'm gonna take this little bit and add it to my big bulk bag. And then I have enough of my base made up. And I like to just give it a mix all together because like I said, they're all mixed differently. I just do it in smaller portions because it helps save my sanity. If I had to mix it all in one big thing, I think I would get like overwhelmed because it would take so much work to get all that color in throughout a bigger portion. You know what I mean? All right, so I have this good to go. I have a good base. I'm gonna put that in here while I mix up my other colors. And I will be right back after I get all the other colors mixed up. All right, so I'm just gonna use some cookie cutters. I think I'm gonna alternate. My hands are in. I ended up using some paint because I could not get the brown to come out. It just wasn't dark enough. So I must have mixed both the chalk powders and all these acrylic paints just to get this. So I think I'm going to start with my cookie base color. I'm just going to pull. We're just going to start with one. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to condition it a little bit because it's been sitting. Get it a little soft. Now, I do have a pasta machine that I could run it through, but it's getting late in the day. So I think I'm gonna just do it old school way. This is kind of my tester cookie anyway. We're gonna do it together. I do have my acrylic roller. And of course my phone falls over. All right, I have my acrylic roller that I can also use before I hurt myself. Let's put that away. So you don't want it to be so thin that it takes forever for it to dry, but you don't want it to be like, you want to give it a good thickness, like a thickness of a real cookie. This is like, sorry guys. Pasta machine makes it quicker, but I don't feel like cleaning off all this mess, and it's just, you know how it goes. All right, so I'm gonna take my cookie cutter, and I just did it on the wrong side, I believe. Yeah, I used the wrong side. There's a sharp side and a not so sharp side. Guess what side I did? Lord have mercy. I tell you, people, friends, it's real. I am real. Okay. All right, so that's my shape. I'm not going to worry about this little imperfection up here because of paint splatter, because I'm going to be fixing that. Hold on one second. Let me get that little corner. All right, so I have one this shape. I'm going to put this back. Now, what I'm going to do is create the icing that goes on top out of a different color. And I will use my tools to make it slightly smaller. So I'm going to put this back. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull enough to do the other shape as well. So condition it just a little bit. And I'm going to flatten it just a little bit and then give it a good roll. This is not the best mat to be doing this on, that's for sure. But it'll do. You get the gist of it. Okay. Now cut. Oop, don't do that again. Okay, that one came out better. Okay. All right, I have my 2 patterns cut out. And it's okay that they look a little wonky right now. I'm going to go ahead and get my couple of my tools out here. That will help me kind of smooth out the edges a little bit. These tools are great. They really do help to smooth out those little imperfections. It's wonderful. Okay. This wax paper is going to drive me batty. All right, now I'm going to put this away. Okay. There we go. Now, I want to do some detailing to my leaf. First, I want to put some, I'm going to make the icing brown, like a leaf color. I'm going to do this a little bit thinner. So I'm going to roll it out, flatten it the best that I can. Now, guys, this is really where it would be best to put it through the pasta machine. Because then I could get an even consistency of the icing being. Okay, so that's how thin I want it. This might be big enough for this one. I want to make it smaller. No, it's not quite there yet. I need to get a little bit more. And we're going to have to, let me move this so you can see. I'm going to move this so I don't, let me move those over. Okay, get this in the middle. Let's see. All right. Okay, I'm going to take off and roll it the other way. See if, because I still don't think that's big enough yet. This keeps moving on me. I want it to be nice and thin. Okay, let's see. Oh, perfect. So I'm going to go, I'm just going to give myself the mark. And then I'm going to go on the inside of this and kind of dot. Etching out my pattern, and then I'll use my X-Acto to kind of come in and help me cut it out. If I do the stippling, it's almost like my hand wants to do it on its own, but it's not very controlled. And that's it used to not be that way. I used to be able to have a lot of control, and I just don't anymore. But that's not going to stop me. I'm still going to craft. Okay, I'm almost halfway around. I will enlist the aid of another tool to help me really pull away the extra dough or model magic, and not just try to do it with my fingers, because it might be that a piece is not fully cut. So by doing this, using my little tool, and I have a smaller little ball somewhere. Here it is. I think, no, where is it? Where is it? Okay. Smaller little ball. I'm just gonna really work and be, all right. Let me see if I can get it lifted. So I have my icing, and now let me move this a little closer to me. I'm going to lay it and adjust it on here. So all I'm going to do is kind of press and kind of, I'm going to use my little soft tool here for clay, and I'm just going to push it in and out to the edges, and it's going to start to look like real icing, kind of. Just laying across here. You're definitely going to have to work with this. It's a process. Now I'm going to vein the cookie. I'm going to vein the cookie, and this is me again winging it. I'm just going to etch out the veins of the cookie. I'm doing that by just using a sharp tool like this and kind of pouncing into the cookie. Now all I have to do is add white or a different color piping into the indentations that I made, and I'll have a beautiful little cookie. You know how it goes. I'm keeping it from here up because I got home from work about 40 minutes ago, and I'm in my pajamas and the bra is off, so you're only going to see from here up. You know how it goes. I'm exhausted this week. There's been a lot going on. I wanted to say before I end this video out that I've already filmed my living room decorate with me that you're gonna see on Sunday. It's already uploaded. It's already ready to go. If it wasn't, I would have added this craft into it, but I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Alrighty, besties, so this is how they turned out. I'll be honest, I did not film the piping part of it for two reasons. One, I didn't have puff paint. I'm out of white puff paint. So I thought I would pick it up today, but I wanted to get the video done. Well, I had forgot to film how I accomplished the look. So I'm just going to tell you, yesterday was such a long day, and I had to, it was just a long day. It probably was not the best day to try to bring you a video or film anything. I just wasn't 100% into it, so I probably should have waited. But nonetheless, I'm at the point of no return on this little craft and video. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it out, and I'm going to upload it right after I film this. So you're going to see it today, and it happened yesterday. So this one, I think my lines are just too much. I definitely could do a better job. I did way better with this one. And all I did to substitute the white piping, like the puff paint, was to use some of the Model Magic, and I rolled it out like a snake, you know, like you used to do when you were in elementary school. I made I made long snakes and just filled in those little indentations that I had made. So the foam knew exactly where to go. It fit in there very nicely. I secured it down by just going over it with one of my tools as I guided it in, and then I just clipped it off at the top with my little utility knife, X-Acto knife. And that's how I did every little line. And these have been sitting overnight. I will say, and I had forgotten this because it's been a while since I've done the cookies with the Model Magic. The colors do get a little bit more intense as they sit. So as they cure, they get a little darker. So you may notice in the video that at the beginning, they weren't as dark, but they look really good, especially the brown. It looks really good now. I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to make some more of these and bring them to you in another video, just so you can see them. You'll see them in the home tour, even if I don't do another video. I probably won't do another video on how to make them, because even though they didn't turn out the best and I wasn't at my best, that's still the steps that I do to actually make the faux foods. So the only other step that I'm going to do is probably, and I may or may not do this, is give them a little bit of gloss. These, like I said, I probably will just kind of chalk these up as my prototypes. When I make the other ones that I want to put in my kitchen and do for staging, I may put a little bit of gloss on the top of them. And how do I do that? I don't know yet. I don't know how to gloss them. I did not gloss my last cookies, but I do want them to have a shine to them. So I'm thinking that I can either use some clear craft glue just to coat the top of them with, and maybe it'll dry shiny. But if that doesn't work, then maybe I can use some liquid polymer clay. That may work to kind of seal it as well. So stay tuned for that. We'll see. But this is how I make the leaf cookies. I'm trickling out my fall videos, and you guys know how I do it. I clean, I film, I upload. That's how it goes. So there may be some videos that you think are wonderful, and there may be videos that you think, why did she film that? Nonetheless, I enjoy doing this because it gives me something to look back on, especially with the kids. I love looking back at my previous year's videos and seeing how young we looked, or seeing what the house looked like, or how young Maggie was, or how young the kids were, and all those fun things. I love looking back at those. So if nothing else, I enjoy having something as a historical record that I existed and decorated. Anywho. But yeah, this Sunday's video I already have up. It's the living room. I still have the entryway to do, and I may not decorate that with you guys. I may just include those areas in a home tour, and but I do have some more craft videos that I want to put out during the fall and into Halloween. I have some fun Halloween faux foods that I want to make, and I also have the dollhouse behind me that I want to share some updates on. So that'll be fun. Anyway, that is that for today's video. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for all the love that you're showing on my videos. I really appreciate it. And I hope that each of you are having a really great week. And it is fall weather here this week. I think because of the hurricane that's coming in on the East Coast. Here it is, it's been very fallish, very dreary, lots of falling leaves. It's actually pretty cool temperatures in the morning, and it is still fairly cool when I leave work. So it is very nice. I almost pulled my boots out today. I wore a sweater. I almost pulled boots out, but I didn't wear boots today. Anywho, all right, guys, I will see you Sunday when we do this all again. Bye.